Okay, today is part 2 of your Limestone Lab, and what we're going to do is we have our material that we created last time in lab. This is the really clear liquid that we filtered out when we basically added a lot of calcium to this. So this water is super saturated with calcium, and you can actually see on the surface here a little bit, it's actually got some hard sort of thing forming on top. That's the precipitate. So that's the stuff that we're after. That's what's going to essentially settle to the bottom of the ocean to become limestone. So the reason this stuff formed on top, even though the rest of it's clear, is because there's a reaction going on between the carbon dioxide in the air and the calcium that's in the water. Okay, so think back to the formula for limestone, CaCO3. What you need to make it is calcium, which we have in solution already, and we need to add CO2 to it. Now, a great source of CO2 is coming out of what you breathe out because you produce it. So we're going to use our own production of CO2 to create this stuff. So what I've got right now, get this here, and take you for a trip. The students have been bubbling into this. Let me take a look there at what you got. Look at how white that's turning. It's turning very, very white. Got another one over here. So the air that we're blowing out into it is making it turn quite white, and that is going to be the calcium carbonate that we're producing. So there's 3 elements involved: calcium, carbon, and oxygen that combine to create CaCO3. Okay. And when we're done today, what we're going to do is we are going to filter our material again, all of the material we created. The liquid's going to go through the filter paper, and we're going to throw this out. What we're after is the stuff we created, the actual solids we created that would eventually combine to form a rock. Okay, so when we're filling out our lab, what we're going to do, and it's okay if you don't do this at home, is that we're going to take the combined mass of our filter paper and our solid, okay, and then we're going to take the mass of just the filter paper and we'll subtract the two. And then that will tell us how much we actually created, right? So it's just to determine how much we made. As far as where limestone's formed in nature and to describe how it forms, that's right from the front of the packet. We talked about it last time, in fact. So if you're confused about those questions, just turn back here to the front. Okay. What are the 3 elements contained in it? We just talked about that. Now, the mineral calcite has a chemical formula of CaCO3. Use what you know about calcite to explain how you could test a rock to determine if it were really limestone. So the way we test if something's limestone is we put acid on it. And if we put acid on this CaCO3 that we've produced, it sure as heck ought to fizz. And that's exactly what we're going to see. So when we're done and this stuff is all dried out, we'll throw some acid on there to see if we can make it bubble. So that's the extent of the lab. Once you're done with all that, you can go take the quiz online. Should be good to go. Okay, so for part 3 of our lab, we are going to mass how much precipitate that we created. So here is the precipitate these guys made. Okay, remember we combined carbon, oxygen, and, if we look at the front here, calcium. So those 3 elements combined to give us calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Okay, and that's limestone, which of course forms chemically. Lots of fossils in it through precipitation in warm, shallow ocean waters. Yeah. Okay, the first thing we need to know is the mass of our filter paper. So everybody needs to jot this down someplace off to the side. The empty filter paper with nothing on it, a brand new one, is 2.2 grams. So I'm going to just kind of jot that off to the side there. And that's just the paper. 2.2 grams is just the paper. Next, we're just going to take our precipitate out there, the calcium carbonate that we made. You see a little bit in the bottom. And we're going to see this ought to weigh more. Its mass ought to be more than 2.2, hopefully. There we go. 2.5 grams. So somebody else, you guys are going to have different numbers for this. Okay. Then all we have to do is subtract those 2 numbers. So you guys got what? You guys produced 0.3 grams. Okay. Produced 0.3 grams here. These guys did. Okay. Oops, sorry, that was the combined mass. So your combined mass was 2.2, sorry. Scoop that up. 2.5 grams. Oh, I'm really messing this up. It's early. 0.3 grams was what you produced there. I put it in the right spots now. So those guys produced 2.5 grams. We subtracted the mass of the filter paper, and we got a total of 0.3 grams. There we go. So now, how do we know this is limestone? Here's the test. You guys remember this test?
It's fizz.
Yep, so we've got HCl here, a little weak acid. And if this has calcium carbonate in it, which it should, we should be able to make this stuff fizz when we put some acid in there. Oh yeah, really good. You can hear it going. So if you want to test yours, you can. There's some acid over here. Go ahead and get your masses, subtract, and answer the questions, and we're done with the lab. There's a quiz online.